More than 95% of the deep ocean remains completely unknown. We've mapped the moon, landed robots on Mars, and photographed distant galaxies. Yet the greatest mystery on Earth is hiding right beneath us, sealed under crushing pressure and absolute darkness. And the little we've seen? It looks like a world that was never meant for human eyes. As you descend, color dies, shapes distort, harmless fish turn transparent, shadows grow teeth, creatures drift out of the black that seem less like animals and more like warnings. But the real question isn't what lives down there. It's why everything becomes stranger the deeper you go. Why bodies vanish into invisibility. Why light appears where no sunlight exists. Why evolution behaves as if the rules simply don't apply. This is not just a dive. It's a step into Earth's hidden underworld, layer after layer of alien darkness. And the first layer, it's only the beginning. The ocean's surface is a world ruled by sunlight. Everything, every color, every coral reef, every fast-moving school of fish depends on light pouring down from above. But the moment we start descending, that certainty begins to crumble. The change is subtle. The water cools. The blue grows deeper. Shadows stretch longer than they should. But with every meter downward, sunlight weakens, scattering and dissolving until it becomes nothing more than a memory. By the time we pass 200 meters, the world we know has vanished behind us. This marks the doorway into the twilight zone, a region where daylight fades so slowly, it feels like time itself is dissolving in the water. Photosynthesis shuts down here. The forests of plankton that fuel entire food chains simply disappear. There are no plants, no color, no stable source of energy, only a steady rain of particles drifting down from the worlds above. To us, this marine snow looks like dust. To the creatures here, it is treasure. Each fragment, broken plankton shells, organic debris, the remains of the dead, keeps this realm alive. Everything that survives in this half-lit world depends on these falling crumbs of life. But because food arrives unpredictably and light barely exists, evolution takes a sharp turn. Muscles shrink. Creatures must conserve energy at every scale, down to the way they move, breathe, and hide. This is the depth where life becomes subtle, strategic, and strange. Predators cannot chase prey the way they do near the surface. Prey cannot rely on speed or camouflage based on color. Every adaptation must answer the same impossible question. How do you survive in a place where you can barely see and can barely be seen? But the Twilight Zone has its own rules. Rules that push life into shapes that seem almost supernatural. And the deeper we go, the clearer it becomes that losing sunlight doesn't just change how animals behave, it changes what they are. Because just beyond this dim boundary lies a realm where bodies turn transparent and survival depends on becoming invisible. Crossing fully into the Twilight Zone feels like entering a world made of ghosts. Down here, color is almost meaningless. Light is too weak to reveal reds, greens, or yellows, so evolution abandons them. Instead, creatures begin to erase themselves, quite literally. Transparency becomes the ultimate armor, and the ocean fills with animals that look more like drifting glass sculptures than living organisms. The glass squid hangs suspended in the water, like a floating reflection. Its organs are faint, barely more than whispers inside a clear body. The glass octopus takes this further. Nearly every part of it is see-through, except for the eyes, which hover like two ink dots in emptiness. Even its muscles and digestive system seem to fade into the water around it. These creatures don't just hide, they vanish. Why does transparency dominate this layer? Scientists have theories, but no definitive answer. The simplest explanation is camouflage. With so little light, shadows become deadly. Any solid shape can betray an animal's presence. By turning their bodies into liquid windows, these creatures minimize the clues predators rely on. Another theory is energy efficiency. Pigments require resources to maintain, and in a world where food arrives like dust, anything that saves energy becomes a survival advantage. But transparency is not the only trick found here. Some animals use mirrors, scales that reflect faint light like silver shields, scattering whatever illumination exists so precisely that the animal blends into the background. Others distort their silhouettes, breaking their outlines into strange shapes that predators overlook entirely. This zone marks the beginning of life, shaped not by abundance, but by scarcity, and scarcity breeds ingenuity. Everything here is an attempt to solve the same problem: how to exist in a place where visibility itself becomes a liability. Yet even among these ghostly creatures, some take a completely different approach. Instead of hiding from the darkness, they decide to create light of their own. When the ocean dims beyond recognition, some animals learn to glow, and in the next layer of the deep, light becomes both a weapon and a lifeline. As the last threads of sunlight finally slip away, the ocean undergoes a dramatic transformation. What should be a world of total darkness instead erupts with sparks of impossible blue, green, and red. Here, in the deepening gloom, life learns to make its own light. Nearly 3/4 of all species in these depths can glow, turning the water into a silent galaxy where every flicker serves a purpose. To us, bioluminescence looks magical, tiny lanterns drifting through black water. But for the creatures that wield it, light is power. Some species use glowing organs to lure prey, dangling small points of blue light like irresistible bait. Others flash patterns across their bodies to communicate or intimidate, sending signals that are invisible to anything that hasn't evolved to understand them. But perhaps the most brilliant strategy is counter-illumination. In the faintest hints of light from above, predators lurking below can identify prey by the shadows they cast. To survive, animals like the firefly squid create a perfect illusion. They shine light downward from their bellies, matching the brightness of the fading surface glow. The effect is astonishing. They erase their own shadows, dissolving into the water column as though they never existed at all. Not every use of light is delicate. The bloody belly comb jelly glows a deep crimson, a color that seems impossible this far down. But red light doesn't reach these depths, and most animals here cannot see it. To them, the jelly appears pitch black, making it the perfect cloak for hiding its glowing prey from would-be thieves. It is camouflage built from a color that technically doesn't exist in the deep. In this world, light becomes a language of survival. It can hide, reveal, attract, deceive. Each flash is calculated, each glow a risk. And yet, the creatures of this layer harness it flawlessly, shaping the darkness into something alive. But this glowing world is only a hint of the chaos below, because deeper still lies a secret migration, a movement so massive and so synchronized that it reshapes the entire ocean every single night. Every night, as darkness spreads across the ocean's surface, something extraordinary happens below. Something so massive, so coordinated, and so constant that it dwarfs every animal migration on land. Billions of deep-sea creatures begin to rise. Lanternfish, squid, jellies, crustaceans, and countless species we haven't even named ascend from the depths in a slow, silent flood. This daily ascent is called the Deal Vertical Migration, and it is the largest synchronized movement of life on the planet. Strangely, humanity discovered it by accident. During World War II, naval sonar began detecting a mysterious, false seafloor, a dense layer that kept rising at night and sinking in the morning. At first, it confused military operators. How could the ocean floor move? But the truth was far more astonishing. The false bottom wasn't the ground at all. It was life, an entire hidden world, shifting in rhythm with the setting sun. Why do these animals travel hundreds of meters every night? The answer is a mix of hunger and fear. Near the surface, plankton bloom under the faint light of night, offering an all-you-can-eat buffet. But during the day, that same region becomes a death trap. Predators with sharp eyesight patrol the waters, ready to snatch anything brave enough to wander upward. So the creatures of the deep time their ascent with darkness, feeding under the cover of night, then retreating into the safety of the dim twilight zone before dawn. This migration is so immense that it redistributes nutrients, shapes marine ecosystems, and even influences Earth's carbon cycle. Entire food webs depend on it, yet most of the world remains unaware it's happening. And for all its scale, it is just one more mystery tucked between layers of deepening darkness. Because once we pass a kilometer beneath the surface, the ocean stops negotiating with light altogether. From here on, daylight is gone forever, and what waits in that endless blackness are creatures shaped by pressure, hunger, and evolutionary rules that seem almost impossible. Beyond 1,000 meters, sunlight doesn't just fade, it disappears entirely. This is the entrance to the midnight zone, a realm of eternal blackness stretching to nearly 4,000 meters deep. Here, the pressure is hundreds of times stronger than at the surface. The temperature hovers just above freezing. Sound behaves differently. Color behaves differently. Even time feels slower, heavier. To human eyes and human biology, this should be a world where nothing survives. But evolution does not retreat here. It becomes audacious. Predators in the midnight zone look forged rather than born. Some species are coated in ultra-black skin, so efficient at absorbing light that they reflect less than 0.5% of what touches them. Even when a bright submersible spotlight hits them directly, they almost vanish, leaving only the outline of teeth that seem to float in the dark. The dragonfish, one of the most striking hunters of these depths, wields a weapon no other fish can match: red bioluminescence. Since most deep-sea creatures cannot see red light, the dragonfish uses it like a private search beam. It can illuminate prey without ever exposing itself, scanning the darkness with a color only it perceives. Its eyes are uniquely adapted to detect this hidden glow, allowing it to hunt in complete secrecy. But the Midnight Zone saves its strangest adaptation for reproduction. The anglerfish turns survival into something almost unthinkable. Females roam the dark with their luminous lures, while males, tiny, fragile, born with almost no ability to feed or defend themselves, have one task: find a mate in a world so vast it feels infinite. When a male encounters a female, he latches on with specialized jaws, fusing his body into hers. Over time, he loses his organs, becoming little more than a living vessel supplying her with sperm. In return, he is nourished by her bloodstream. It is one of the most extreme biological partnerships on Earth. Life here is harsh, delicate, and astonishing. Yet even this realm, with its ghost predators and secret lights, is nowhere near the end. Because deeper still lies a world so empty, so massive, and so misunderstood that it challenges everything we know about life. 4 kilometers below the surface, the ocean levels out into a staggering emptiness. This is the abyssal plain, a featureless desert of mud that stretches across more than half of Earth's surface. No trees, no reefs, no ridges, just endless darkness and fine sediment drifting down like ancient ash. Temperatures rarely rise above 4 degrees Celsius, and food is so scarce that survival here feels like a slow negotiation with death. Yet strangely, this barren world is home to some of the largest creatures in the deep. This phenomenon, known as deep-sea gigantism, remains one of biology's most persistent mysteries. Giant isopods, relatives of tiny pill bugs, grow to the size of puppies, lumbering across the seafloor on armored legs. Amphipods, normally no bigger than grains of rice in shallow waters, can stretch longer than a human hand. Even the elusive colossal squid is believed to roam these depths, a titan drifting through black water with eyes the size of dinner plates. Why does everything grow so large here? Scientists have theories: slower metabolisms, colder temperatures, fewer predators, but no single explanation fits every case. It is another reminder that the rules of the deep don't just bend, they reinvent themselves. Food, when it does arrive, comes in dramatic fashion. The most important event on the abyssal plains is a whale fall, a carcass sinking from the world above. When a whale reaches the seafloor, it becomes a massive oasis in the desert. Within hours, sharks, hagfish, and scavengers descend on it. Weeks later, stranger creatures arrive: bone-eating worms, bacteria, entire communities built around a single skeleton. A whale fall can feed life here for decades. Not every creature in the abyss hunts or scavenges. The vampire squid, despite its ominous name, is a gentle collector. It spreads long, sticky filaments to gather drifting marine snow, tiny particles so small they seem worthless, yet enough to sustain this patient animal in a world where every calorie matters. Here, life moves slowly. Growth takes years. Reproduction is rare, and some creatures live centuries. The abyss is a reminder of Earth's vast, quiet endurance, an enormous realm where evolution whispers rather than shouts. But even this immense desert is not the deepest boundary. Below it lies a world shaped not by silence, but by the violent forces tearing the planet apart. Beyond 6,000 meters, the ocean floor fractures into the deepest wounds on Earth. The hadal trenches, named after Hades, the underworld. These narrow chasms plunge so far down that if Mount Everest were dropped into the Mariana Trench, its peak would still sit more than a mile underwater. Down here, sunlight is not just absent, it is irrelevant. The pressure is so extreme it would crush metal. Temperatures sit near freezing, and the environment feels more like an alien world than part of our own planet. And yet, this underworld teems with life that defies every expectation. One of the most astonishing residents is the snailfish, the deepest living vertebrate ever discovered. Its translucent skin, soft bones, and gelatinous body seem impossibly fragile. But these features are precisely what make it suited for the trenches. Instead of rigid skeletons that would collapse under the immense pressure, snailfish rely on flexible structures and unique cellular chemistry to keep their bodies functional in conditions no other fish can endure. They glide effortlessly through an environment that should destroy them. Surrounding them are armies of amphipods, tiny crustaceans in shallow waters, but here, surprisingly large and thriving. Recent studies revealed plastic fibers inside some of their bodies, a sobering reminder that even Earth's most remote environments are not untouched by human activity. But the trenches hide something even stranger: hydrothermal vents, where superheated water bursts from cracks in the seafloor, loaded with chemicals lethal to most forms of life. Instead of relying on sunlight or marine snow, the ecosystems here feed on chemistry itself. Bacteria convert hydrogen sulfide, methane, and metals into energy, fueling entire colonies of giant tube worms, clams, and blind crabs. It is a food web powered not by the sun, but by the planet's internal heat, proof that life can thrive in conditions once thought impossible. These discoveries fuel a larger question. If life can survive such extremes here, why not on other worlds? Icy moons like Europa and Enceladus hide oceans beneath their frozen crusts, warmed by internal forces, not unlike the trenches on Earth. But even with these clues, the hadal zone remains largely unknown. For every creature discovered down here, there are countless others still waiting in the dark. For all the creatures we've documented and all the expeditions that have pushed into the deep, the ocean remains a place defined far more by its questions than its answers. Even after decades of exploration, scientists agree on one thing: we still don't understand most of what lives down there. Every dive brings back something new: an animal with no known relatives, a body plan that seems to break biological rules, a behavior that makes no sense in the environments we know. Take deep sea gigantism, for example. We know that animals in the abyss grow far larger than their shallow water counterparts, but the reasons remain uncertain. Slower metabolisms, sparse predators, cold temperatures. None of these theories fully explain why some species become giants, while others remain tiny. The deep keeps its logic to itself. Bioluminescence, so common it feels like a defining feature of the deep, is just as confusing. Nearly 3/4 of deep-sea organisms produce light, but their reasons vary wildly. Hunting, mating, camouflage, communication, or something we haven't discovered yet. Some can even create colors invisible to other animals, like the dragonfish's secret red glow. Every layer we descend strips away something familiar. Light disappears, color fades, bodies transform. The rules of biology twist until they become almost unrecognizable. And each time we think we've reached the limits of what life can endure, the ocean reveals something stranger, tougher, or more beautiful than we expected. The deep is not an empty void. It is a library of impossible designs. The deep ocean reminds us that mystery is not a relic of the past. It's alive, it's thriving, and it's calling from the darkest corners of our own planet. As long as there is water beneath us, there will be secrets waiting, creatures we haven't met, phenomena we haven't explained, and questions we haven't asked yet. And perhaps that's the greatest truth of all. The more we learn about the deep, the more we realize how little we've seen.